What's up? I'm KBHD here, and this is possibly the weirdest, but at least the most interesting phone of the year so far. This is LG Wing. They're calling it the world's first 5G swiveling smartphone, but here's the idea. It looks, when it's closed, like a normal smartphone, but then there's swivel mode. You can kind of get used to doing it with one hand if you practice it enough times, but basically you just take the bottom corner of the display and just flick it up over the top, and this whole giant screen swivels up 90 degrees and just sort of slaps into place. And of course that's revealing an additional nearly square 3.9-inch OLED display underneath. So now you've got yourself basically a T-shaped phone. And actually, in general, I think the build quality seems really well thought out overall. There's a slight raised edge over the whole back screen, so less dust or dirt can get in there and then rub against the screen as it closes. And even the parts of the body that you see behind the display as you slowly can swivel it are mostly all just metal. And also, fun fact, this earpiece you see up here at the top is the only one on the phone, which means when you swivel it closed, it should be blocked. But this here is actually literally just a pass-through cutout, so the sound can make it to your ear when the phone is closed. And then when you close the phone, you also block the whole top bezel area back here. And there is no room up here for a selfie camera in this thin, swiveling panel. So that's why this phone also has a motorized pop-up selfie camera, as if there weren't enough moving parts on the LG Wing. Like, why would you actually want a phone to do this? Why did LG make a phone that's able to swivel? What's the point here? And the answer is actually in a lot of the use cases built into the software. So first of all, when you go into swivel mode, it's just opening basically this launcher that's a carousel of apps that support swivel mode. Now you can still use that bottom screen kind of however you want, like a tiny square smartphone, but this is where the swivel mode experience really begins. Then there's two ways that the screens really work together. LG calls them A plus A or A plus B. A plus A is like where you have a main screen content and then some additional content on the bottom screen that's either controlled or connected to the top. And then A plus B is just straight up multitasking. So A plus A stuff is pretty straightforward. Like supported apps like YouTube here will let you control the video or change brightness or skip forward or backward from the controls on the bottom display. Kind of useful, but that's not something crazy I couldn't do with one or two taps on a normal phone before. And of course, there's also big screen typing. So you flip it upside down and leave the window for whatever messaging you're doing at the top and use the whole bottom screen as your keyboard, like full screen or split screen. But A plus B is, I think, where it gets way more interesting because now it's really just any two apps at once. And so it's up to you to think of the two apps you want. So maybe it's watching a video on the main screen and texting or messaging someone on the second screen at the bottom. Oh, and all of that's not even to mention the additional trick this phone has up its sleeve, which is gimbal mode with this camera. So you remember I talked about the camera for a second. This is a bit of an unconventional camera layout. So it's a 64 megapixel main camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then another 13 megapixel ultra wide for gimbal mode. So if you swivel open the phone and launch the camera, the top screen is your viewfinder and leveler, and the second screen is now all your controls for that gimbal camera, including a joystick that lets you pan and scan all the way around the stabilized ultra wide frame. Kind of like if you had a camera in a real gimbal. My final thoughts as I'm playing with this phone is like, do I think I could use this form factor as my daily phone? Could I use this LG Wing daily? And I think my answer, yeah, I could, but I think the 60 hertz would wear on me, and I think if you see this animation speed, how slow that is, I think just the general catching up that the software has to do with how cool this could be is what would hold me back from using it every day. But I'm interested in what a second generation of this would look like, and just in general, what else would come out of this LG Explorer program, because, well, that's a hell of a start. Either way, that's been it. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.